Hey Lovely, I'm Lisa and welcome to Lovely Channel. Today I am sharing with you what curriculum of homeschool I am using for my 3-year-old. We started preschool at home this year and I did a lot of research just in like the past year of trying to find the best way to start homeschooling. We knew even before we had kids that we were gonna homeschool our kids, and so it's just kind of been this slow, gradual process of figuring out what homeschool looks like for us, because there's not one way to do it. If you homeschool, you know that there's all different kinds of homeschool philosophies. You can find anything and cater your homeschool to just your family life and your style. So I found a curriculum that I personally love. I read the book, The Well-Trained Mind, and it talks about a classical education at home, and that book really resonated with me. So personally for me, I was looking for something along of a classical education, but I've also been learning about Charlotte Mason, and I like her philosophy on education, but above all, I wanted a biblical, Bible-based education. So that's really, I guess, where my philosophies for homeschool come from. Just off the research I've done, that's what has resonated with me and what works best for our family and with our belief system, being believers. Like, I want it to be Bible-based above all else. So I think that's the direction we are going to continue with. And I found a curriculum that literally is, I feel like, was created for our family. It's perfect. Well, mostly. It is the Gentle and Classical Preschool. This is by Erin Elizabeth Cox. She has a blog, and then she has a store where she sells all her curriculums. She also has a kindergarten, first grade curriculum on there. She has nature studies for elementary school students, and then also On a Mission, which is like a cultural, global type studies as well. So she has quite a few different products that you can look at on her website, and just has lots of good information on her blog about homeschooling. And literally her preschool and her curriculums are designed around a classical education, a Charlotte Mason philosophy, and she's a Christian, and everything is biblically founded and based as well. Scripture plays a huge role in learning about God, and the Bible plays a huge role in her curriculum. I just love it, and we've been loving it so far this year. We are almost done with our first unit, and there's 3 units in the preschool. This curriculum can really be flexible and catered around to whatever your needs are. And so again, we're starting kind of light because River's only 3. You don't even have to preschool your 3-year-old. But I was looking for something just because I felt like River was wanting it and needing it. He loves to learn, especially numbers. Like, numbers are his probably favorite thing to learn, doing math. I wanted just something kind of gentle and light to start, but also just getting a biblical foundation. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through what a week looks like. And this is the teacher guide, and you can actually download this for free on her website. So if you're just wanting to try out this curriculum and you don't want to spend any money, you can just go on her website and download this teacher guide. You can print it out if you want to, or have it printed out and bound. That's what I did. I did buy her full bundle. She has like a full homeschool bundle. You can either do a downloadable one that you can print out yourself, or you can buy a print version. Oh, I think I said earlier that we're about to finish our first unit. I meant our first term, sorry, because there's units within terms. Units cover a week or 2 weeks depending on how you want to do it. But for example, here's unit 1. You have a book of the week that is going to be associated with a letter of the week. So for unit 1, we read Last Stop on Market Street, and our letter of the week was the letter L. And if you have the full bundle, you'll also get printables that have a letter of the week, and I use these little menu cover things with dry erase markers to do all this stuff so that we can reuse it for years to come and other children to come. So For example, this week we're actually doing the letter O, so we have an O on here. You can use this page to build an O, like you can use Play-Doh or popsicle sticks, pipe cleaners, like whatever you have that your kids would have fun building a letter with. We also trace over this big O, but then on the back, they can practice writing an O, and then down here, they have to find the O or whatever the letter of the week is. So you'll get stuff like that, but again, if you're wanting to do this basically for free or as little money as possible, you can just get the free teacher's guide and kind of do it yourself. Or you can have, you know, all the papers there for you and everything if you buy the full bundle. And then we also have, there's a nursery rhyme each week that comes out of the same nursery rhyme book. And then we have different memory statements. And again, if you have the bundle, you get little memory statement cards. I laminated these, but there's a manners and hygiene statement. So for example, this week, our little statement is, I can be quiet when asked. So just different little things that they're learning that are good to know about manners. And then we're also gonna get into hygiene. Mostly it's been manners so far that we've been learning about. And then for math, she uses, which it's funny because I was wanting to use this math program anyways, but Preschool Math at Home. It's just this book. I think you can get it for around $15 on Amazon. And it's perfect for teaching preschoolers about numbers 1 through 10. And then it even goes into addition and subtraction, I think, in the later units of this book. So right now we're working on numbers 1 through 10. River loves the activities. They're just like hands-on, fun activities. It's basically like playing with your preschooler, but they're learning numbers and math at the same time. So this is a really great book. But she uses the lessons from that book in this curriculum. So you can use these together really well. And then you also learn colors, and then after you learn colors, you go into shapes. So we've been working on shapes now. And then there's the preschool morning binder, which I think you can buy, I might be wrong, but I think you might be able to buy that separately. So if you don't want to buy the full bundle, but you download the free teacher's guide and you still want the morning binder, I think you might be able to buy that separately. But basically what it comes with is different pages that, again, that you can put in your dry erase sheets if that's how you prefer to do it. So it comes with the letter sheets, and then there's also color sheets for when you're learning colors, and then shape sheets for when you're doing shapes. And then there's daily pages, like this one's all about the weather and the seasons and temperature. And then there's different ones depending on your child's age. So since my son's 3, we're kind of using like the more basic ones, but they can learn how to write their name, their age, and then how they're feeling, kind of emotions and stuff like that. And then we don't do the other, there's some other daily page sheets, but I'm just keeping it simple and we're just doing those ones for right now. But they can also work on the days of the week and the month. So I think we're probably gonna work on this next year because we're gonna repeat this curriculum next year more in depth. Because again, you can cater this. You can do as little of this as you want or as much of this as you want, depending on your child's age or what works for your lifestyle right now. Going back to memory statements, I talked about the manners and hygiene statement. You also have a scripture you're learning, and I think the scripture repeats like every 3, or like you have one scripture you're learning for like a 3-week period basically, yeah. Because this one's units 7 through 9, so we've been doing the same scripture. You also have a catechism statement, not the Catholic catechism, but it's based off of the, I think it's called the Westminster Catechism. It's a Protestant catechism. So you have different questions that you're learning about God and the Bible. It's basic theology that's good for every believer, and especially for little ones. We also have character statements, and you have one character statement for each term. And so River has this one memorized because we've been doing this one for weeks, but I am patient. I put off later what I want right now. So just different good things character-wise that are good to know, and like basically what they mean. And These statements come in handy because we can use these throughout our day. If I'm needing River to practice some patience, I'll ask him, hey, what's your patience statement? Okay, let's practice that right now. And he'll repeat it back to me and knows it, and he does so good with it. So these things are really practical in real life. And then we also have a about me memory statement, and there's different ones. Like we've learned our country. He's really good with like knowing that we live in the United States of America, your state, your address, all that kind of stuff. Right now this week it's our phone number, so I'm just having him memorize my phone number. There's flashcards for the numbers of the week or whatever math numbers you're currently learning. You can use those for games and stuff, just like hands-on learning. And then there's also letter cards, and then there's ones with the shapes, and then we're also learning 1 through 10, so there's 1 through 10 on there. Just all different stuff that you can use, and you can make I think it's called a memory statement board, and I kind of have one, but I don't really use it a lot right now. I would like to be better about that next year, but we're taking it slow. So there's also motor skills that you can do each week. So she gives you an idea for a gross motor skill and a fine motor skill. And usually the fine motor skills are used in whatever handicraft you're doing that week, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then the other things that are kind of optional for older preschoolers that you can add in is a few core books that you can buy in using your preschool, and one's Big Truths for Little Kids. This goes along with like the catechism statements. They're little stories that kind of use the catechism statements. So we have that book and we read that. There's also Big Thoughts for Little People, which is a Bible-based kind of like behavior character type book. It goes letter by letter, and for each letter, so you'll like read the letter of the week, whatever letter, like for unit 1, it was, or this is unit 2 actually, sorry. Unit 2 is the letter F, and so you go to F in that book, and it says F is for forgiving. So you'll read a little story, and there's some questions that you can ask your preschooler about forgiveness. And then there's also a poem each week that you can read if you choose to. And then she also does art and classical music introductions as well, if you choose to do that. I have the stuff for the music and the art, but we haven't really been focusing on that. I would love to focus on that in the future because I personally love art and music, and I'm interested to learn along with him about those things. But we've just been doing what works for us now, and again, taking it super light since he's only 3. So that's something we can always add in next year if we want to. And we have done a little bit of it, but it's not something we do every week. The handicraft or activity, there is one each week. And you really need, if you're gonna do the handicrafts and activities that she does within this curriculum, you're gonna need the handicraft or activity and handicraft guide. It has all the crafts that you use for each unit, and they usually go along with the book of the week. There's other info in here too that can be helpful throughout your week, just like things to keep in mind and questions and things you can focus on that have to do with the unit you're on. You could also, again, if you're wanting to do this free or really inexpensively, you could just get the teacher's guide and then come up with your own craft or activity that goes with each week's story. It's still not that much money, but it is a little bit of an investment up front if you're wanting to do the whole bundle. I did buy the bundle. I did buy the core books that we use every week, but then we get a lot of like our weekly books at the library just to save money. That really helps out. But I would love to do more homeschooling videos, so if you are interested, make sure to give this a thumbs up. Maybe leave some homeschool video requests below. I was thinking next week I might post kind of like a homeschool day in the life or like homeschool with me type video. You can see our little homeschool rhythm routine. I will have all the stuff I talked about linked below too, so if you're trying to go check this out for yourself, you can do that. But I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.